Hello and welcome everyone to a new video on our YouTube channel. So today's video is going to show you how to remove a cylinder head on a 1986 Honda Accord which has the A20 series engine. So this engine came in a lot of Hondas in that era. We had got the Accords and Preludes and other stuff. It had a couple of versions like different displacement, 1.6 and 2 liter like this one, and carbureted or EFI. Here we have the carbureted 2 liter engine, but it's gonna be similar if not the same if you have an EFI. The only difference is you have throttle body and fuel rail here. So there's no need to remove any of those. We're just gonna remove the intake manifold off of the engine. So this is gonna be applicable on any of the engines that you have. Now we're gonna start removing a couple of stuff from the top, like the air cleaner, the valve cover, and the distributor. So let's get straight to work. Okay guys, so now we're gonna start by removing the exhaust manifold and the intake manifold. There are 7 bolts or nuts on the exhaust manifold that needs to be removed. They are easy to access. As you can see, you can access all of them just with a normal wrench. Just like that, we pushed the exhaust manifold out of the way. As you can see, it has enough clearance to get out of the cylinder head and set it down on the subframe. So there is no need to disconnect the exhaust from the bottom side. There are 9 nuts holding on the intake manifold, 5 on top and 4 on the bottom. You can reach the top easily, the top ones easily, but the bottom ones you need an extension with a U-joint on it to reach the first 2. And the second one, you gotta fish your hand with the normal wrench above the alternator to reach it. And the last one is easy to reach from this side. Now, if you're having hard times removing the intake manifold from the cylinder head or even reaching the bottom bolts, you have the option to keep the intake manifold mounted on the cylinder head and remove them as one unit. You just have to disconnect some coolant lines and some vacuum lines and the fuel line, and it may be different. It will be different if you have EFI. After removing the power steering pump, we're going to remove the main serpentine belt. The alternator is the tensioner on these cars. You can reach the bottom 14mm bolt of the alternator through the wheel well here. Turn the wheel to the left side and use a couple of extensions and a universal joint on the end just to break her free. Now you can detension the belt and remove it. Now we need to put the engine at TDC before removing the crank pulley bolt. Now the timing marks on this engine are easy. I'm gonna go through them when we put the engine on TDC. Okay guys, so on the rear side of the engine, where the transmission bolts to the engine, there's a hole. You can see there's a pointy thing on the engine and there's a slash on the flywheel. Those are the timing marks of the crankshaft. Now for the camshaft, it's easy. All you gotta do is line the up mark, which is stamped to the cam gear, to 12 o'clock with respect to the slope of the cylinder head here. Now we're gonna jack the engine up and remove the engine mount and start removing the timing cover. Okay guys, so now it's time to remove the crank bolt. Now depending on your tire size, you may be able or not to fit a wrench through here without removing the tire. If your tire is small enough, you can. If it's big, you can't. Anyway, if you have a manual, you need to put the car in 5th gear and have a friend press on the brakes. But if you have an automatic transmission, you need to jack the car up and go under there and remove the inspection cover and stop the engine from spinning by putting a wrench or a screwdriver or anything that locks the flex plate or the torque converter from spinning. So when you remove the crank pulley, make sure you keep in track of the keyway here. This slides in here and on the crankshaft, but there is nothing holding it on. So pay attention and do not lose it. So now we need to remove the water pump pulley to access the timing cover bolt, which is under it. I've stuck a wrench in between the holes of the pulley and the engine in order to loosen the 3 bolts. Now that we got the weight of the engine on a jack, we're gonna start unbolting the engine mount. Now we're gonna remove the power steering bracket because one bolt bolts to the engine and the other bolts to the cylinder head. Now we're gonna drain the engine oil. Now we're gonna remove the bottom timing cover bolts. Now that we got the engine jacked up and the engine mount out of the way, we can remove the timing belt tensioner. It has a 12mm bolt on it. Now we're gonna start loosening the head bolts, but there's a special sequence that needs to be followed in order not to work the cylinder head, which goes like this. Now we're gonna follow the sequence and loosen each bolt quarter of a turn. So after doing the first pass, we can then slowly loosen each bolt in the same sequence. Okay guys, so just like that we got the cylinder head out, and as you saw we removed everything along with the cylinder head gasket. So this is the main purpose of today's video. We showed you how to remove the cylinder head of your Honda A series step by step, covering everything up. In the next video we're going to show you why we removed the cylinder head of our engine, keeping in mind that the cylinder head gasket was fine and we didn't have any of its symptoms. So we're gonna go through the cylinder head and rebuild all the valve train and show you how to do it. With that being said, this is gonna be the end of today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed it and learned a couple of stuff along the way. Make sure you like the video and comment down below, subscribe to the channel. See you on the next one. Peace.